This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today that this podcast will be like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating and a brief written review. It will enable other excellent people like you to be able to locate this podcast. And thanks for passing the word around. Let's reflect for a moment on time management. As you know, I say time management is really self-management, but because time management has so entered the public consciousness, I'm going to be referring to it today. And what is really the basic benefit? Let's just have a little refresher course. The benefit is to be able to manage your time and yourself effectively is so critical and vital. Good management of time and self leads to improved efficiencies and productivity. It'll also lessen the stress in your life, and you will feel that you are able to accomplish more in really a little bit less time with a whole lot less stress. I have found that making and following a task schedule and having a routine really is a tremendous stress reliever. When I was early on in life in leadership, I always felt like I was missing something. Was I going to miss a deadline? Have I overlooked something? Was I behind in some way, in some area? And this helped me when I developed a time management principles and I developed a routine. As really counterintuitive as it is, it really became a way that it seemed that rather than losing time, I was creating more time because I was focused, I was more effective, and I got the things done as I needed them to be done. It also enabled me to accomplish and to reach some goals that I had been doing and wanting to see done in my life, rather. I think time management really goes over into other areas of life and helps create effectiveness in so many areas. And one of the top of that list would be in the area of goal setting. Because you are now cognizant and aware of setting times and doing things and using your time, you know then that as you set goals, they need to be SMART goals, specific and measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. And good time management principles will help you to be able to achieve your goals much more quickly and efficiently. I think when we learn to manage our time, it really helps us to have to prioritize our lives. Everything that happens and comes to us is not at the same place or the same level. For instance, there are some things that are important and urgent. Not everything is that way, although when anyone brings you a suggestion or a project or something for which to help them with, everything is both important and urgent, but that's not necessarily true. But when you get those that come across your desk or come into your life in any given day, just sit down, do them, or take care of them, and be done. There are also things that are important and not necessarily urgent. They're important to do. That would be a lot of your goals, especially in your personal life, professional life as well, even projects at work. So when they're important but not urgent, meaning the house isn't on fire, they don't have to be done in an hour, then you get to decide when you're going to do those tasks, when you are going to fit them in to your schedule. There are also many things. When I first heard someone describe this, I wasn't quite sure I bought into it, but I've come to understand, believe, and know it to be true. There are a lot of urgent things, but they're not that important. They're urgent to someone, and someone feels a tremendous sense of urgency. Well, these are things that if they need to be done now, and it's not all that important, then I would delegate it to someone who's closer to it and can get it done. Then there are a lot of things that happen, and unfortunately, far too many people spend too much time doing that which is not urgent and not important. And those things, I have learned, you set them aside. These are the kinds of logs to throw on the fire of batching. There are certain things that they probably need to be done at some point. They don't take a lot of mental strength or a lot of energy. So I would set them aside and do them when you have saved your energy and your brain space for the things that are really important. Now I use the Pomodoro Method. I have a timer. I have it on my laptop, my desktop. I have it on all of my electronics, including my phone. So when I begin to work on a project, I break it down in either 20 to 30-minute segments. You need to understand that you really are going to only be at your optimum for a brief period of time. You can't say, I'm going to work 12 hours tomorrow on that. Now, there are times when we're behind or there is a crisis that we have to, but setting time constraints for completing tasks helps you to be more focused and efficient. If I know that I'm only giving 25 minutes for a given task at that moment, I know that I have to focus. I can't waste time. I can't get distracted. It helps me to keep focused, get it done. And oftentimes I will even break larger projects, maybe into 3, 20, 25-minute segments throughout the morning. And it just helps you to be more effective. You focus on the matter at hand. The other thing that's very important in all of that is you need to build in breaks. The timer that I use, which I think is Be Focused, has a 5-minute interval. And it's not for you to work. It's for you to get up, rest, walk, use the restroom, get a cup of coffee, walk outside, return an urgent phone call. But it gives you a little break where I move myself around physically, change my environment a little bit, rest, whatever I need to do, and then I'm ready to hit whatever I have determined is going to be the next activity. Time management really comes to the point that you need to organize yourself. This is where I married my calendar to my to-do list and my efficiency went up exponentially. I was one of those that when I was doing something, I oftentimes felt like I was cheating or I wasn't being effective at my job. But if I had an appointment on my calendar, I would never miss it. I would never shirk the responsibility. And so when I even began to make calendar appointments with myself for Bible reading, for exercise, I discovered that if I put it on the calendar, then I didn't feel like I was cheating. I felt like I was doing something that was really important. And not just your work responsibilities are important, but your family responsibilities and your responsibilities to be a good steward of your own health, finances, and well-being. So get yourself organized. Take your task list and expand it into a calendar. I began to then start thinking that there are a lot of non-essential things that I had to let go of. One thing that happens when you decide to work on certain things or to do certain things, you are at the same time also deciding there are some things you are not going to do. One of the greatest tools for time management, I believe, is planning ahead. Too many people are flying by the seat of their pants. They're taking it as it comes. I will not be ready for tomorrow if I don't plan ahead tonight. That's why I have an evening routine. The evening routine, I begin to wind myself down and I begin to give thanks for the day, see the things that I was able to accomplish, see what things weren't able to accomplish, what I maybe missed or didn't do. But I begin to lay out what am I going to do tomorrow, get everything together, get myself together so that in the morning I don't have to wonder about what am I going to wear, what am I going to do, where am I going to go. It's all laid out, it's all in its place. As I've told people before, they kind of make fun of me. I can get up in the middle of the night. I can get dressed. I have the information that I need to get going in the next day with me. I determined the night before what are going to be the 3 most important tasks that I must accomplish the next day. More often than not, I get a whole lot more than 3 of them done, but I have committed that I will not go to bed until all 3 of them were done. To tell you how committed I am to that, last night I stayed up till 11 o'clock because number 3 was not completed, and I forced myself to get that done. What that does is you're making commitments to yourself, but it also keeps you focused during the day. Yes, I am not going to bed tonight until these things are done. A lot of things that are happening in our lives. Let's just be honest. It happened and happens in my life, and I believe it happens in your life. A lot of the things that we are feeling so much angst and frustration over are really some poor management, time management skills. For instance, a poor workflow. The things that really need our attention, rather than getting to it when we are fresh and ready to attack the day, we do things that really aren't as critical nor as important early on and leave some of the things that are really a little tougher, a little harder decisions, a little more thoughtfulness, a little more planning goes into it. So I would say to you, examine your workflow. Are you happy with the way that you're doing it? The other thing, when you begin to work with a time management tool, whether you're using an app or a paper system, it doesn't matter. One of the things you really need to pay attention to early on is it will make it quite apparent what are the time wasters. Try to time yourself sometime when you're surfing the internet. It is so easy to go down different rabbit trails, get into holes that we never knew that we were going to get into. And all of a sudden, when you shift back to an awareness, you've wasted an hour and a half or 2 hours. When we get behind in our time management, what I've also discovered is it causes us to get into a haste pattern. And I think it causes, as we know, haste makes waste. So it'll take a while in the beginning stages. You will have to figure out exactly how much time does this certain thing need. Overall, time management is going to propel you forward. It helps you in the ways of goal setting. It'll help you get control of your schedule. You're going to have to learn, we've done a podcast, may need to do another one, that you're going to have to, in order to get things done, you're going to have to learn to say no to some things. And that, I used to think that meant saying no to bad things or non-productive things. It even means you're going to have to, at times, say no to things that are okay, they're nice. We just can't do everything. Just make sure you have a good sense of self-awareness. I've already told you when I believe I am at optimum energy and peak performance. It's earlier in the day. That may not be true for you. That's not my point, but you need to know yourself. You need to have an accurate self-awareness. And if you are one whose mind really wanders and you get easily distracted, find what is the optimum amount of time that you can work at in a concerted way, whether it's 10 or 15. 10 minutes of focused work will beat 5 hours of distracted in and out. You'll have to find what preference works for you, what effectiveness helps you. I've also found that by using time management, it will become apparent often some of the skills that I really need to develop in order to be at your best. Again, find and discover what your peak performance time is. Another thing that most people would not just go out and willy-nilly waste money. Well, treat your time like it's money. Perhaps a good exercise for you the next week or month is to track your time like it's money. And then it'll take a little bit of exploration to discover exactly how much time does it take me on certain kinds of projects. And if something isn't working, then find a way to change it. You're going to have to prioritize what are the activities and obligations that I'm here for and that will move myself and the organization forward. I highly recommend that you start exploring with productivity apps. Some like to-do list. I wouldn't live without Evernote, my calendar. Like I told you, I have a timer. I have several apps, and I've gone through many of them. Nozbe, Nozbe is a very, very effective tool. The quadrant matrix that uses the Eisenhower matrix, though they're just good ones out there, you'll have to discover which one really works for you. Make sure you schedule your protected time. Make those appointments with yourself. Do not let everybody that calls your office or everybody that texts you be the determiner of what your schedule is going to look like this week. You might learn that if you, especially those who set their activities so generously, it may be that you need to back off, learn how I can maybe do half of this in a particular time. One of the things as a leader that you really have to adapt to, and time management has helped me understand that, is we just have to be adaptive. No matter what kind of a system we build, no matter how effective we try to be at it, the fact of the matter is no 2 days are exactly the same, and there are going to be things that arise that we did not see coming, and you can't get frustrated. You just have to work your way through it. Again, it'd be better for you to work in 15-minute short bursts of concerted effort than 2 to 3 hours of just wandering around. I'm a big fan of habit stacking. Find some of those. I do emails and returning phone calls in the same time segments. They, to me, are somewhat the same. They have to be done. They are necessary. They're important. But there are other critical things that aren't clamoring, and I have to begin to differentiate and make time for all of these things. I hope this has been a helpful time management, self-management refresher for you. You've been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this has been like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating and a brief written review. Remember, my leadership friend, you are doing better than you think you are. You really are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, have a great and blessed day.